Since 2017, bringing together developers, artists, and entrepreneurs, Game Jam Plus is the biggest game development competitive marathon in the world. In those 5 years, we reached 2,800 participants in 100 cities in 30 different countries, and we participated in over 600 game projects. With the power of cooperation, almost 800 volunteers helped with the first steps to the game development world. For 7 months of hard working and evaluation process, competitors give their best until the most expected moment of the year. The big final ceremony, where the indie development work comes together as one. It's at the final that we get to know the best games, and where we find out who is the winner of Game Jam Plus, the Game of the Year. A meeting place for all the main agents of the game development industry. Big producers, publishers, national, international, and indie game studios, investors, partnerships, developers, artists, and much more. Be part of those who believe. Help us to build this event, which is made by the community for the community. Join us. Be part of the Game Jam Plus Big Final. Game Jam Plus, devs in the world, be our plus one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live from Game Jam Plus. It's our warm up, and we are quite happy to have everyone here. And remember that our time to subscription is still open. So if you want to participate, please subscribe. It's until tomorrow. So please go if you want to participate. It's about our last days. So I'd like to introduce our star of the day, Amanda, or Mallory, as she is known,
Thank you,
and
Susie.
and she will talk about project management. So Amanda, it's your stage. Everyone enjoy. It will be awesome.
Thanks for this introduction from me, Ceci. I'm very happy to be here with you all, and thanks for the invitation as well to be part of the Game Jam Plus 21 and 22 warm up. It's very, very exciting. And shall we start then? Thanks, backstage. These backstage people are awesome. So, what are you gonna talk about today? I'm gonna talk about project management inside and outside game studios. And as Sissy presented me, I'm Amanda Duarte, and let's start this. So, doing a short summary of what we are gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about what is project management, but related to the game aspect of it, because we have project management in other areas, especially in other IT areas. But today is about games. And also, we're going to talk about some best practices for project management and management methodologies as well, and also how to use project management in your game jam project. And I'm gonna be using PM for project management because it's a very long, like 2 word. So I'm gonna be using PM. So PM stands for project management. And just as since she already presented me today, this awesome pixel art from me was made by Sissy Honey, that is our host speaker today. So thanks, Sissy, for this amazing pixel art of myself. She made one for each Women Game Jam organizers, and I'm so happy to have a pixel art version of myself. So continue to what is important. Firstly, I'm gonna talk about myself. Like, who is talking to you today? Okay, I'm Amanda Duarte, but what does Amanda Duarte do? She is a project manager at Achimo Games. We are indigenous owned company, and this long name here, Achimo, is just a short, but I don't want to mispronounce it because I'm not 100% there, so I'm just going to call it Achimo Games. That is our like informal name for our studio, but it's a lovely studio with a small team, and we are producing our very first game, call it Hue Agency. That I'm going to talk about it later in the presentation when I start to share some links where you can find me and everything. But yeah, I love the studio. I have been working there for almost 10 months from now, and I started as an intern because I also graduated this year in a game development course here in Canada, where I'm located. But since I don't think college, university degrees for the game industry are that important, so I usually don't mention because I don't want for people watching me to think that, oh, I need to have a degree in game development, game design. No. So I just show what I'm doing, what is my participation in the industry. But yeah, I have a college diploma in game development from Canada. Besides being a project manager, what Amanda does. Amanda is also an organizer at Women Game Jam Brazil, because Women Game Jam is a very wide game jam, like Game Jam Plus now. There's many host countries around the world that host Women Game Jam every year, and I'm the organizer of my home country, which is Brazil. And what else? I'm also organizing another game jam. Call it Game Jam Plus. Call it no. You already know that it's Game Jam Plus, but the whole city that I'm organizing, I'm not part of the global organization. I'm just organizing Game Jam Plus Salvador. That is one of the many host cities that Game Jam Plus has. And I'm also only organizing this edition. I don't know about next year. But yeah, I'm organizing the very first edition of Salvador, Game Jam Plus Salvador. And what else? What are Amanda's hobbies? What she does in her spare time? What she likes to do? Why project manager in games? Why does she do that? Because she's a game lover. Games lover. I love playing games. I always loved playing games since I was a kid. I love learning about games. That is even the reason why I graduated in a game development course, and also why I keep like looking after more courses, looking after watching YouTube videos, YouTube talks, or live talks out there. This one, like we're in the end of the Women Game Gym, Game Gym Plus warm up. So there was a bunch of other amazing talks that happened the previous day. So I recommend you to check it out. And like I mentioned, I love to watch these type of talks because I can get different sides of the industry and everything. I also love to participate at events, as you could see. I'm organizing 2 game jams. I also participated in 7 game jams so far. That was not including Women Game Jam and Game Jam Plus. So I love participating as a jammer, as a mentor as well, as a community manager or moderator for online game jams, and to organize. And make games is also my passion. That's why I'm in this industry. I want to make games. I want to see people playing the games that I participated at in the project and see them enjoying, see them learning things with it. That's my passion. And especially talking about making games. I love participating in game jams. As I mentioned many times. It's my thing with game jams. But yeah, so with all of that said, nice to meet you all. Let's go to the main part. Who is behind the game? You ask me. Who is behind the all the games that we see in the market? We see in online stores. Who is behind it? Like it's a game, but who interacts with it? Who made it? In terms of development, we have like two main areas that everyone actually like it's the most common areas when you talk about like game creation. That is there are the artists, can be 2D, 3D artists, can be the riggers they will do the rigging, also the animators, they will do the animation. We also have the other main area that are the developers who will take care of the code, will take care of the game engine, of implementing assets and make sure they work inside the engine that you're using. And we also have some other areas that people don't talk about, but it's like they are also very essential to the game creation. There are the designers, the game designers, narrative designers, the level designers, and UI designers, UX designers. There's a bunch of designers who design the game that you like, that you play with your friends, that you play by yourself, or that you see out there in case you don't play games. But yeah, we have the designers. They're another essential part of the development of a game. We also have compositors, we have audio engineers that will take care of all the sounds that you hear, of all the music, all the amazing immersion that you get from that sound, the soundtrack that plays, and you go like, "Oh my gosh, I love this game, this music." Oh, these people are the ones who will take care of what you're listening, or they will take care of the level of the sound that you're listening because the level is important. You don't want to lose your audition because of a game sound when you're with your headphones. So these people are very important as well. We also have the game testers, the people who take care of the QA, the quality assurance of the game, the people who go after playing it many, 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 many times until they don't want to see the game anymore because they're gonna look for bugs, they're gonna look for places that can be game breakers. So like going to a wall and this is a very mere example. It's nothing like it's just a mere example. But for example, they're gonna test the having the main character bump into a wall to see if the character can pass by it. Okay, just so you know, it's not a funny job. You don't get to play your favorite games. You get to play games that you may don't like, not like that you may will have to see this game for a lot of time, for long months. So yeah, game testers are very important as well. We have the marketing people that will take care of the image that everyone else will see besides the developers. So how the players are gonna get to know the game, how the media is going to get to know the game. So the marketing people are the ones behind all of the announcements that you see, usually the social media as well, all the promo material from the game. Marketing people will be behind it. And also we cannot forget players are a vital part of games as well. And we have players as consumers who will buy the game to play the game, enjoy at home, enjoy with friends, or participate in competition like Battle Royale and other like FPS games, shooter games. And we also have the players who plays in a competitive way for esports. So they have a team, they play, they go all the way, and they can receive a lot of money because they won championships. So players are also very vital for a game itself and is the result of game development. because the players are going to be the consumers in the end. And of course, these are not all of the game areas that we have, the game people behind the game. We have a lot of other people. But I'm going to focus today, as I mentioned before, in the area of management. What the management has to do with the game. People usually don't talk a lot of management because it's not the cool part. It's usually the boring one because you need to deal with deadlines, you need to deal with a lot of boring things for artists, developers. They are not they want to be more hands-on. We from management are more like zoomed out, an overview of everything, and we need to take care that everything is working on all of the areas. Okay. And within management, what do we have? We have leads and directors. So usually, for example, we had a talk. If I'm not mistaken, it was on Monday with the art lead or art director from God of War. So usually these ones are the ones that everyone wants to know about, wants to ask questions related to the game. They are art directors, they are programming leads, design leads. They're all the nice faces that everyone wants to go to ask questions. And they are also very important to make sure that each section of the game creation is working nice and is respecting all of what has to be in the game, because it's also important to make sure that everyone is on the same page and they don't want to create whatever is in their heads, because we have like guidelines to follow from our game design documents. So these leads and directors will make sure that the creativity and the hands-on part will be going well. We also have producers that are what many people hear and talk about, especially in Brazil, since Game Jam Plus started in Brazil, and I know that we have a more audience that is from Brazil. I think it's important to state that there's a big difference between producers and project managers. Usually in Brazil, at least before I came to Canada, because as I said, I'm from Brazil. I even studied 2 years in a Brazilian university, but I didn't graduate there. I just graduated here in Canada. And we usually tend to say that producers and project manager are the same role, but they're kind of not the same role, because producers, they tend to look at the game, the project, in a very zoomed out level. They tend to look at the budget because they're responsible for making sure that the money is going to the right places, that the money is being uh, smartly used. I don't know if smartly is a word, but yeah, it's being used in a smart way, and that makes sense for the project. That there are no money going to waste, basically. And they also take care of do a high level view related to each area. But usually, they are like the bosses of project managers or art leads or programming leads. They're like usually one or two producers to take care of a whole big project. And within production, we have like executive executive producers, assistant producers, or game producers. That will have like different namings depending on the studio that you go or the talk that you watch about a game producer. There are many different names for different roles within production. But yeah, basically, producers will be a high level, management of the team will be looking for the budget, while project managers will be more inside the team, taking care of the leads. They will be taking care of each one of the staff members. So I will be the one that will look after everyone and have to report to the producers how is everything going, if they're going to meet the deadlines and everything. But yeah, now that I gave all of this like high level overview of game areas and especially management, I wanna ask you what project management is. What do you know about project management? Before I start, I'm going to recharge myself with water. Drink water, people, is important. But yeah, what project management is? Basically, like I said before, It's very similar to game production, but it's not the same thing. It's important to make this clear for everyone. But what is also in common between the two of them, of these areas? Basically, we're going to be looking after the project plan. We're gonna make sure that we have a established plan for the whole development time, because I'm gonna even get into more details later. But projects vary, and usually they tend to last for more than a year than 2 years. So we need to plan through this whole time how everything is going to work, from the pre-production, that is designing the game, designing the levels, doing prototypes, until the post-production. It is after the game is finished. That is after we had a lot of QA testers testing the game after the game is released. After we get feedback, we do some changes. We are going to be planning this whole process at the very start. It's important to mention we're going to be planning at the very start of the project. So we need to think far ahead of many things. So we have the planning part of project management. We have the executing part, because we need to execute everything that was planned. And we need to make sure that everything is also going according to the plan. Because, as I said before, we have, for example, art leads to make sure that the artists are going to do, for example, are going to do aliens. They're green aliens and not like white cows, because the game is about aliens, so we need to make aliens. So we're going to be make sure that we execute what we plan in the right way, so we can achieve goals. We can get to an end, because we don't have like an end line for games. Games can always be improved in so many different ways. So basically, is this process very summarized of what is project management? We plan, we execute, and we execute the plan to achieve goals. That is basically the big goal, is to have the game as designed. And going to a short example for, because I mentioned that we plan everything related to like months, years ahead. Related to like weekly, what do we usually do? We usually plan for the week. We execute. So we, as project managers, we make sure that the artists are okay. We make sure that the artists are doing their jobs. We make sure the programmers are doing their jobs, because we are not hands on, as I mentioned before, but we are doing a overview of everything. You make sure, look in here, look in here. Here everything is okay. Here is not okay. Let's solve this problem. So we make sure that the execution. I put executing. It would be more execution, but we make sure that execution of everything, it's going well. And we also make sure that at the end of the week, or every 2 weeks, we get the goals that we plan with the team at the beginning of the week, at the beginning of the sprint, or whatever you're using to establish your period of times for production or execution. And moving on to nice to have skills for um, project management. So, which ones are good? And these ones, I usually say that they are good not only for project managers itself themselves, they are good for everyone who works with games, and even like daily life. They are very good skills to have to manage yourself, to manage your team, to manage your daily life. These are very, very nice skills to have in general. But yeah, going in depth, we have communication and diplomacy. Because since you're a project manager, you need to deal with a lot of people within a team, then you need to be very, very diplomatic with things that you do. Because it's nice to remember that we are not in a dictatorship. If even whatever, if you're a producer, if you're a project manager, you're not the not this you are a leader, but you're not the only person that gets to the final opinion of things. How can I better say this? Like, it's not a dictatorship. Basically, you not get to say you're gonna do this and that's it. No, It's always important to have the communication part to go like, okay, we need to do this. How are we gonna do this? I think in this case, the project manager, me, say, I think that we should do in this way, and then I approach programmers, or I approach my audio engineers, and I ask them, do you think that this is feasible? Do you think that this is okay? And they're going to report to me, yes, Amanda, I think it's okay. Or no, I think that we should do it that way. So it's a matter of like you propose things, you hear things back. It's a diplomacy in terms of you know that you need to get these things done, but you're not going to impose them. You're going to talk with your team and get to an agreement of what is the best way and more efficient way for them to do what you want them to do. Continuing, we have the organized priority skill. That is a very important skill because, as I mentioned before, as project managers, we need to think about the project like 1 2 years ahead. So we need to know, is that also something good that I don't know why I didn't write there. It's very nice to know a little bit of every area. If you're the project manager of a big team, like my example, me, like I don't have a big team. My team is like, it's close to 20 people, but still it's not that I need to manage all of these 20 people. But it's important to know a little bit of what they're going to do. So, for example, since I came from a game development program, I had to learn a little bit of every area. So I know about 2D art, I know about 3D art, I know about rigging a little bit, but not exactly for my program. But I know a little bit of rigging. I know about animation. I know about game engines, different game engines. I know how to code, not a lot. I don't know how to program that much, but I know uh, game logic. I know about game physics. Nothing in depth, but I have an idea of it. So I always say that it's nice to have a T form of knowledge. So literally the letter T, where you know a little bit of every area and you specialize in the organization side. So I know what is the priority for each area. So I know what the artists have to do until the end of, for example, the end of this year. I know what all the artists have to do. I know what all the programmers have to do. I know what the writing side has to finish. So I know all of the things that they will have to do and how they're gonna do it. I don't know in details, but I have a good idea of what it is. And with this idea, I can organize priorities. So I know what they're going to finish this year. I know what they have to prioritize for the next year. And even for after the game is launched, there will be some time in the future. I don't know if I can say this yet because I'm under an NDA. If people don't know, we have NDAs in game studios. But yeah, uh, when after the game is launched, we have to allocate resources as well. So I need to know the priorities for after the game is launched, what the team will have to do. And it's important to, when organizing priorities, when having this conversation with your teammates, with your staff members, you need to establish milestones with them. So you go like, okay, we are planning for the next 2 weeks. What we are gonna achieve when these 2 weeks are over? What are you gonna be presenting to me as a finished thing? So we can achieve the goal that this part is done, this part is set. So we need to establish these milestones with the team, always with communication, always talking, always have this nice interaction with people is very important. And what else? Very important. Everything that I'm seeing is very important, but very nice to have is the fact that is the fact that we need to plan with times. So okay, I know what my team has to do for the next 2 months, but I need to know what time, how long they're gonna take to do each thing. So we need to have this conversation. Okay, we are planning for the next 2 weeks. My team come to me, and the person one and person two. Person one comes to me, oh Amanda, and I thinking here, I like your plan. I think that I can do these two things in 2 weeks. And I go like, okay, but how much do you think you're gonna take to do these two things that we are planning? And then we have like 2 weeks, we're working with like 60 hours in total, 30 for 1 week, 30 for the second week. So we have 60 hours. And then the my person one come to me and go like, oh, for the thing one, I think I'm gonna take 40 hours, and for the thing two, I think I'm gonna take 30 hours. 40 plus 30, we have 70 hours. 70 hours are now equal to 60. So we need to arrange that because we just have 60 hours of work, and then your teammate is my teammate is coming to me saying that two things are going to require 70 in total. So the count doesn't match. So I need to work out like, okay, what can we achieve so you don't have to crunch? Because this is also something very important that I'm going to mention a little bit later. It's important to have your team alive and well, because if they're not well, they're not going to produce, and if they're not well, they're also going to take more time to do something. So it's nice to have this time to ask about time estimates on things that you two are planning to plan for the next 1 week, a month, whatever you plan to use. Also, it's nice to identify red flags before they become a problem, because, like I always said, we need to plan for the long future. So if you see, okay, we have like 10 sets to do in a year, and then your artists come to you with two sets and they did the two sets in like 6 months. We have 10 in the for a year. How come did they only do two sets in 6 months? So we need to go like, I think this will be a very huge problem. So let's talk about it. Let's see if they need help, what we need to cut, because sometimes it's important to cut things to get to the deadline, because sometimes you work with publishers and they will require you to have the game done by that date. Sometimes you work with funders and they will require you to do reports to show your progress so they can give the money that like you applied for. So it's important to pay attention to the future. But it's a weird thing, but yeah, it's important to pay attention to the future. And also, you can use organization tools to take care to track all of these things that I mentioned before. So you can use Trello, that is a very known one. You can use Jira, you can use Hack and Plan, you can use GitKraken, you can use Asana, you can use what else? There are a lot of of organization tools or project management tools that you can use to establish priorities. You write all of the priorities. You write what your team is going to do for the next week, for the next 2 weeks, for the next month. Also, organize backlogs, things that you think that your team will be able to do, but they need to finish this first, so you can leave it on backlog. So use the tools that you have out there to help you out, because your job is can be very exhausting. So let's use the help that we have. And like I said before, make sure your team is alive, because if you don't have a team that is in good health, that is in good mental health as well, physical and mental health, you're gonna see that tasks that you know after you get some experience, tasks that you know they're gonna take, for example, 10 hours, they're going to do in 20 hours, because they don't have the strength to do it. They don't have the mental focus to do it. So it's important to make sure that everyone is okay, that everyone is not crunching, because usually crunch leads to bad mental health, and more time later on they will be taken to do something short, something quick. So make sure your team is alive, everyone, including yourself. Make sure you're alive as well and well. In PM methodologies, or project management methodologies, we have more than what I'm going to say, but the most used ones are agile. That is a more flexible one, more adaptable, because you focus on doing chunks of time, of work per time. So do a little bit of programming, do a little bit of sound, a little bit of art. Then you get together, you test it, everything is good. Let's move along. While waterfall is more step by step and more precise, because it's planned throughout the whole process. So it has all the chunks of work divided and already planned. While agile, if you see that something is taking too long, you can cut it out. You don't have to be so fixed in your plan. So you have these two. I usually, and I know a lot of people who use Agile, but many other people use Waterfall and they like it. So it will depend on the studio that you're working at. It will depend on your team. If you're doing a game jam, for example, you don't have a studio, but you have a new team. So you need to talk about it. And two ways to use these two methodologies that I mentioned that are kind of also methodologies. They're the Kanban one that you use the board, or the Kanban is the one you probably will recall is when you have a board with a lot of post-its with like things to do and you put like different columns. It's a very nice one. Trello kind of has the style I'm going to show a little bit later on. And we also have Scrum, that is when you have a chunk of user stories of things, features that you want to implement, and you divide them by sprints. The sprint can be like a week of work, can be 2 weeks of work, can be a month. And then you're gonna only see what you need or your team needs to do per week, per like bi-weekly, per month. And yeah, these are like basic ones. Basic ones. I really recommend you to dive into it. So just type on Google search bar like what is agile, like agile recommendation links. On Monday there was also a talk. It was in Portuguese, but I think if you go to the end of the presentation, you can get the link there from a game producer that is my lovely friend Cristiane Jade. Jade. I don't know how to say this in English, but yeah, Cristiane Jade. She did a really nice talk and she gave a lot of recommendation in terms of books. So I really recommend you to go there and take a look at it. And but yeah, search more about them. It will be good to know a little bit. Not much if you're not a project manager, but it's very nice to know these methodologies. And how do you use these methodologies? You can use them in two different approaches. You can use them in a big project that usually take months, years to develop. That is, for example, is a game developed by a studio, usually AAA. Takes a lot of years. I don't know if you know, but I think Red Dead Redemption 2 took like 7 years to be produced because it's it requires a very more complex design, a very complex design, a layered design with a lot of features, with a lot of resources for the player to go after, to level up, to acquire places to discover. So it's a very in-depth design for for big projects. We also have extensive and long development with a lot of things that the developers will have to take care of. Usually, with like a big project that will weigh a lot of gigabytes, so they need to take care of optimizing a lot of the game, or otherwise you're gonna have a terabyte of gameplay. And we also have small projects there. They take like days, they take weeks, like game jams. For example, Game Jam Plus is more than 40 hours of work for the first stage. So they are short, so they require a simple design. They require a more concise and short development. So usually these type of small projects they use agile because it's a more back and forth thing, while big ones usually, I'm saying usually, but it's not for everyone. I'm not saying that like what I say is not set in stone, but usually big projects they use the waterfall, so they work in chunks of of work pieces and they move along with a lot of years, while game jams are very short. They go, you need to change, it's very quick, it's very um it has a simple design. You don't have time to do something complex. You don't have time to implement something complex. So it's better to have agile in these type of projects. And now we come to the game jam part, because I gave an overview of everything related to different game areas, to project management. But okay, we have Game Jam Plus because I'm doing a live talk for Game Jam Plus warm up. And for the ones who came here for the first time and didn't watch the previous warm up, Game Jam Plus is a Game Jam marathon where only few get to be the winners. So it's a competitive marathon, and you'll be in a competition with different people. But okay, project management, Game Jam Plus. Why is project management important here? Like, what is the question you ask me? If you don't know, if you're new to this area, if you're new to game jams, why is it important to manage my project? Should I not focus on getting it nicely beautiful with a lot of mechanics, with a lot of everything? It's important as well, but it's important to manage all of these things that you want to add. It's important to manage your small team, because usually small projects, they have small teams, 3 4 people, but project management will be very good for you to get your feet on the ground. So don't go crazy on adding a lot of things, a lot of stuff to your game, because you need to finish in 48 hours, 48, 45. I forgot. I'm going to recharge again. Drink water, guys. But yeah, it's very important to keep your feet on the ground. Don't get crazy on ideas, and focus on finishing the game in that amount of time. It's also important to help you aim for at least a functional game at the end of the game jam, because it's a competition. So you don't want to get to the end of the game jam without a game that the jury can play. You can even have a tabletop one, a board game, but it needs to be a digital one. People that will have access to it will need to be able to play it, so they can judge your game, not you. They can judge your game and give you a grade. So in this grade will matter for later on, because it's a competition. So project management will help you to manage your team to get at least a functional game that is there, is playable, and people can get the experience that you wanted them to get. It's also important to guarantee the team's physical integrity, because you don't want people to don't eat for 48 hours, to not go to the washroom for 48 hours. It's nice to have this, to have one person, or to have the whole team managing themselves, getting to say, oh, you didn't get a break, go out, go walk, go take a walk, go to the washroom, go drink water, because we are human beings. So it's important to remember this when participating in game jams. It's also important to have someone to be the one who pokes the other ones, saying, go drink water, go eat, you haven't eaten for like a day, so go eat, please. It's also very important to help you pay attention to major deliverables, because as a competition you're going to have to deliver things. And going to the last topic, you're going to do pitches, you're going to do pitch presentations to get people to be interested in your game. You need to pay attention to what you're showing to the jury. So you need to pay attention to marketing. So all these major deliverables are very important to be aware of. And having this project management skills, even though you're not a project manager per se, but having these skills will be very, very good for you and your team, of course. And moving along, now nice to have skills, especially for game jams. So before I mentioned skills related to studios that can also be applied, because it could be kind of copy and paste, but these are more specific for game jams. So if you're new to game jams, or if you didn't do no if you didn't participate in a lot of jams, here five nice skills to have. The first one, as I always say, is important to have the communication skill, the diplomacy skill, because you want to be able to talk to people, you want to be able to have them to do what you're planning. You want all of you to be on the same page of the work. You want them to not feel pressured, because there will be a lot of pressure already. But you know communication is very important all the time in all of your life, but mostly important in the game jam. So communication, diplomacy skills is very nice to have. List all the team tasks at the beginning of the jam and organize priorities. Since it's a short period of time to do a project, I'm using game jams as an example, but let's say that is a 1 week game jam, because I already participated in one like this. You also need to know what everyone is going to do in that short amount of time, and you need to have this in the place where everyone can see and everyone can also be aware that they don't have to only implement the player movement. They'll have to implement the player movement. They'll have to implement the player tag. They'll have to implement the player live synced with the user interface with the HUD that will display the live. So it's not only one thing. They need to know and they need to be aware that that is a big thing that you plan to, and it's important to have this list listed in a place and also organize priorities. What is important, very important, so we can get to Sunday, because it's the last day of Game Jam Plus, get to Sunday with at least a functional game, with at least a nice itch.io page that is also the place that you're going to submit your game, and then you list those priorities and have them organized. Also, pay attention to deliverables. As I said on the previous slides, you're gonna have to do pitches, you're gonna have to provide game builds. So pay attention to what your host city is requesting. What is the global version of Game Jam Plus requesting for all the jammers to have in which specific deadlines. So pay attention to them. And if you're the project manager, you will be the one to be poking people like, okay, we need to have this done. Let's work to have this done. The deadline is that hour, let's say. uh, the deadline is midnight, so we should have everything done at least 2 hours before, because some things can go wrong. You need that buffer time to work things out if problems occur. So it's important to pay attention to deliverables, to what you need to have at the end or during the game jam. It's also good to have time estimates, although, like, I know that is a short one, a short game jam. I know that you want to be quick. You don't want to be asking for time. You don't want to talk to people because you think that you'll talk with people and then you're gonna lose time because you're talking. No, if you're concise, if you're direct, if you're diplomatic, you will talk to your team. You can be, usually what people say is that if your team doesn't have a project manager and you think about, oh, we need to organize things, usually the person who thinks it is the person who is project manager. You can assume more than one role. You can be like game designer, project manager. You can be the lead artist or the only artist of the team and be the project manager. But you will get to go to people, to the rest of your team, and go like, okay, how much time do you think you're gonna do it? An hour, 30 minutes? Okay, I'm gonna add this here. How much time do you think you're gonna do it? 2 hours? Okay, we need to pay attention to this because this might be complicated. You might have problems to do it. And then you is also important to ask on this in way, like while asking for the time estimates, do you have experience on what you're doing? Like if you're the project manager and you go to an artist and they say like, oh, I know 3D modeling and I'm going to do the 3D modeling of this character. I'm going to rig it and I'm going to do the animation. And then you ask them, okay, you know 3D modeling, fine. How much you going to take to do the 3D modeling of this character? And they say like an hour. Cool. But okay, we cannot just have a T-pose character in the game. We need to do the rigging and then the animation. Do you know rigging? And then they come to you and go like, no, I don't know. So now that you know that they don't know, they might take a longer time to finish this character, and you need to take this uh, accountant, because it will be important for this time estimate. Because if they take too long to do something, you might end up on the end at the end of the jam without a character, for example. So it's important to get the time estimates and also know your team. Ask how much XP they have with what they're going to do. Pay attention to any possible red flags. As I mentioned before, you need to plan the future a little bit. You need to ask, as I just said, you need to know what people know, because if they don't know, if they say that they're going to do something, but they don't have experience with it, they don't know how to do it, you know that this is going to take a longer time. And you might end up at the end of the jam without that specific thing. So identify possible red flags is also important, even though it's a small one, but it can become a big problem. Let them recharge again. And finishing real quick, organization tools. Some easy ones that people use a lot in game jams are the Trello, and I mentioned before Google Docs, Google Sheets, Notion as well is a. I heard many people using this before, and if I get the chance to try, I need to. But yeah, here goes the recommendation. Make sure your team is alive, please. Make sure everyone is eating. Make sure everyone is drinking water. Okay, you're human beings. Don't go rushing to go like, oh, I'm not gonna eat. I'm not going to go to the washroom. I'm going to be sitting here for 48 hours straight. This is not gonna work. You're not a machine. This is not gonna work. Make sure everyone is eating properly. Make sure everyone is okay. Okay, making sure everyone is going to sleep, and you also be aware of, okay, this person needs to sleep, so we're gonna be out of like without a programmer for 6 hours. What can we do in this meantime, or at least have everyone to sleep at the same time, so you don't have someone that is working alone and needs work from other people that would be sleeping. It's nice to be aware of all of these things. And some key things to keep in mind to wrap up my presentation, and also tips for for project managers in game jams. But these key things also kind of fit to industry project managers as well in its own way. But basically, what is important to have is to name properly all of your game documents. So each IO will be the platform where you're going to be uploading your game. On each IO, make sure you have your GDD with the game name. For example, let's say I do, I don't know, fish game. The name of my game is fish game. So I have fish game GDD. I have fish game build. I have fish game. I don't know, pitch presentation. So make sure you name everything properly, because there'll be people looking at it, not only the jury, but there will be other people looking at your game after Game Jam Plus, and you can use the each IO page to promote yourself as part of your portfolio. So be aware that you need to be organized. Organization is nice, will cause a good impression for everyone is going to look at your game page. Also, make sure the game build indicate the version that you're working at, because there will be a point that you're gonna be far ahead working with your team, and then there'll be a lot of builds because you're implementing features, you're testing features, because it's important to test features. Okay, I didn't mention this, but you test your features, test your things, build the game at least like 1 2 times before the final day, so you know that everything is working. Okay, so considering that you're gonna be a smart person and you're gonna do a lot of builds with your team, make sure they have proper names, because let's say that one is working fine, and then you do a new one and it's not working in a specific aspect, that is a feature that was recently implemented. If you don't have both with the right names, you might confuse them, and you might end up using the very last one instead of recovering the previous one and fixing it, or knowing that that one was working fine, so you have like a backup of a build that is working instead of a broken one. So make sure they have nice naming conventions, they have nice numbers to indicate where step you're at, and you can work with your team to figure out what are the best name for documents, best names for and like versions for your builds. It's up to you. It's just like a recommendation to have these things. Also, make sure your game has a start and exit menu, a pause menu, an audio settings menu, because let's say that you're hearing the music fine now, but then someone plays it and the audio is super loud and they go like mute, and then all your audio work goes to trash because they're not going to listen to it because it's too loud, and they don't want to bother going to the menu, or I don't know, maybe they don't have access to keyboard keys to lower the volume. So it's important to be aware that audio settings are important as well, and also to like change specific values, so you can change the volume of the all the music. You can change the volume of like menu music, of sound effects as well. So it's important to have these things. And it's not difficult to do. You can find easily like tutorials on the internet. Also, make sure you have, remember when I mentioned about having a proper name for the a game build, so you know where you at. um, and you can know like how far ahead are you with game builds. It's important to also mention the name inside the game in the main menu, so you can, when you open the game to test it out, you go like, okay, this is version X1. I don't know. And then you know that, okay, you're looking at this, and then you open another build and you go like XS2. Okay, so this one is later. It was built after XS1. So it's important to have this. It's a short piece of text in the main menu. You're not gonna lose your hand to write it. It's very simple and to update it. Also, a credit scene is also nice because, okay, on HIO you're gonna display your team's name, a team member's name. You're gonna display the game name, but it's nice to have a credit section, because let's say that the person is looking at your portfolio, or at your portfolio, no, looking at your game page, find it interesting, and just click on download. And then they go like, "Oh, this game is amazing. Who did it?" And they don't find anything. They just say, "Oh, it's a fish game. Who did it? I don't know." And it will look awesome. And again, it's a competition, so let's make sure you do something nice to stand out from the other ones, because I believe that most of the people participating at Game Jam Plus, they want to be the winners. So make sure you have nice details that will be good and will make your game stand out from the crowd. And also rate your game age wise. So make sure you point out, okay, this game is not okay for kids. If you had some language there, if you have some image, make sure you let your audience know when downloading your game, so they can know where to play it as well. Some games are not safe for work. So yeah, make sure you just mention, yeah, a quick short sentence. Oh, this game is not safe for kids. You know, so it's nice to have this. Also, make sure your game build is working. So as I mentioned before, make sure also that you do multiple builds throughout the game jam, because you want to know that everything is working, that your game didn't crash as well. This is important. And after you submit it into, you upload the game build into itch.io, itch.io, you need to know if anyone can go into your game page and download and play your game at their computers, or I don't know, in the browser, if your game is playable on browser, if they are downloadable on phones, because you want people to play what you did. So make sure you upload there, and then you send the link to someone else. Can be another team member, can be a friend. You go like, can you please try to download my game? Can you please try to play my game, because I need to know if everything is going smooth. So make sure you do these things before you finish your gem. At least make sure you have them done, these key things. And final tips for gemmers. I promise I'm not going to talk more. I know that I talk a lot. So a list of don'ts. Don't forget to drink water. Drink water is important. Drink water is nice. Don't drink too much coffee or energy drinks. I know that you want to be alive. I know that you want to have energy to produce and be so fast and implement everything that you want to implement. But let's keep in mind that you're a human being, guys. You're humans. Let's keep this in mind. You're not a battery you can stay awake forever. No, you need to calm down. You can kill yourself with a lot of drinks, with a lot of coffee, because it will be something that will be harmful for you, and also will prevent you to sleep. That is a third don't. Don't stay awake through the whole jam. Please, let's sleep. Sleep is nice. Sleep 2 hours at least. Let your body recharge a bit. It's important. So let's sleep a little bit. At least a bit. And don't eat only junk food. Okay, this one I know is very complicated. because you want to be fast. You don't have time to cook. Sometimes on the place that you're doing the jam, you don't have space to cook. But like, let's say you're going to order something. Okay, Subway is not the best option, but I don't know. Eating salad in a Subway sandwich, I think is a little bit better than like McDonald's. I don't know, or eating just hamburger stuff that has a lot of sugar content, has a lot of fat content. This too much is not good, and then you will feel hungry. You want to eat a lot. So let's try to balance these things. Let's try to eat salad. Let's go to like whole food places and get salad with with carrots and lettuce and a lot of green things that are nice for your body, and it will also help you to stay nice, because if you eat a lot of junk food, this can be harmful for you as well. Same as I said for the coffee energy drinks. This too much can are not recommended. And two final tips. If you're at the beginning of the jam and you're stuck, you don't have any more ideas, like what are you going to do? How are you going to proceed? What is going to be our plan? Sometimes it's nice to take a like 10-minute break, go out, go do something else, talk about another subject, and then come back and talk about it. And then you might get to a solution. I tried this once on a game jam that I participated. It was a week-long game jam. We were talking about the theme, and we were like, I don't know, someone has this idea, another idea, so many ideas. What are we going to choose? We have a whole week, but we didn't get to a common idea. So I went to my team and go like, let's take a break, let's go out and lunch because we haven't lunch yet, and then we come back and we decide on something. And then we went out, we went to eat lunch, and then we came back and look at it. We had an idea and we produced the game. The game even have 5 levels. I'm really proud of it. We did like in the beginning of 2019. It was very nice. And finally, make sure that everyone has breaks. So everyone has breaks to take breaks to drink water, to go to eat, to go to the washroom, to go to sleep is important. Breaks are nice. Breaks help you recharge. Believe me, I have participated in 7 game jams as a jammer. I know that these things matter. They matter a lot. And and that's it. I'm sorry if I took too long to say everything. Had a lot of content I didn't realize. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching my talk. And just a real quick, I'm going to quickly show choo, 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 what I was mentioning about Kanban boards. Trello has a very nice way to organize things. So, for example, I can use labels to differentiate each area. So, for example, if I click on each label, I have like design for game menus, HUD, levels. I have development, programming to create character movements, game mechanics. This is a very basic example. Okay, I never used this board before, but I just created as a illustration for you. We also have like arts animation, audio. We have marketing. Don't forget marketing part. You need to have a cool itch.io page. You need to have a cool pitch presentation to sell your game idea. You need to test the game build. So please, let's make sure you have everything there to be aware. If you're the official project manager, or if you're just like a game designer, your artist that is also the project manager, make sure you keep all of the team tasks in a single place where everyone can see and everyone can move around things, as they do tasks, as they have their tasks tested, and everything is working fine. So I really recommend Trello. That is also another cool tool that is Hack and Plan, that you can also have Kanban boards there. You can use the sprints. And yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that I really recommend you to try it out. And yeah, you have also Trello has a lot of features that you can add. You can like add members. It's just me here, so I can only add me. You can change label colors. You can create more labels. You can add checklist of items, and as you do them, look at this. That is a progress bar, and you can even see here it's green because you did it. So it's very nice. I highly recommend Trello. And yeah, let me go back to my thank you screen. And I think if Ceci wants to go back here and talk to me, I don't know, ask questions. I don't know if I talk too much. I think I talk too much. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. And what is my host? Ah, there she is.
Hi again.
I was
No,
like,
you
I'm
don't have
alone
to cry.
here.
You were amazing, as I said.
Oh, thank you. Did you find any questions? I'm looking at them now.
No, so far not. I wonder if there's one anyone still wants to make any question. If you do have the time,
Do we have
so
time?
that's
I
the
don't know.
time.
Like I said, I talk too much. I don't know if we still have time.
No, but I believe you actually spent this time answering possible questions. Like I had questions in my mind, but when the question came, you were already answering it in your presentation. So
Ah, that's nice.
I guess that's efficient.
That's
Uh,
very nice then. I have a question that I got from my Instagram follower. By the
oh, that's
way,
fun.
if the backstage wants to leave my thank you page so people can follow me on social media or ask me questions, whatever, that is even like on my link tree. You can have access to my project, Heal Agency. And oh, I'm gonna quick share. I forgot that I have it open here.
Sure.
Let me show backstage is here to share my screen. I don't know if I have the power to share it. Oh, cool. So yeah, this is a project that we are working at. A lot of months. We have a very cool poster, and it's a storytelling game, a narrative game, where you're gonna control private investigator in a faraway future with a very noir style cyberpunk game. I really like the aesthetics. We're gonna soon update this art because it's the old one.
I already
And we
love
can
the vibe of the game.
yeah, it's so cool. So and
It's
this is
everything I
the
like kind of mafia, kind of fun, cyberpunk. Yeah.
yeah, it has those vibes. And uh it's like a futuristic scenario um with different people from different like groups and everything. And yeah, this is the main character and it will be so cool. I'm so excited to show more. And it will also be 3D. I forgot to say. This is
Oh,
2D, it's just concept art. We're gonna have more 3D models to show to people.
oh,
But yeah,
that's awesome.
that's it. I love this poster. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna just leave this and I'm gonna answer my if we do we have time, right? Or no? I'm just saying things.
I believe we have a bit of time. So far, nobody said we don't.
Okay.
ah,
Oh, thanks backstage
um,
for my links in the in the chat. I just have a question that I got from a follower that he asked about. I'm looking at my phone. He asked about which are the difficulties on setting up a plan. What is the name in English? Yeah, a plan with like timelines and everything. And what are the obstacles is that we face when working with a team? I don't know if he only asked it about like game jams or projects in general, but the difficulties in setting up uh, chronogram. It's not chronogram in English, but yeah, setting up a team plan.
timetable.
Timetable, yeah, better. Thank you. Difficulties in setting up a timetable uh, is to be aware that you have different features to implement, and is also to be aware that you have a lot of people in, and you need to know if they're working well. Because sometimes you will be working with people that don't fit with your studio, that don't fit with your pipeline, and then you need to know where to cut, where to add. It's important to have these things in mind. It's important to always make sure you're aware of time, aware of your team capacity as well. And his second question was about the obstacles on working with a team. Basically, is the communication part. I think is the most difficult one because you working with people that has different personality than you, that has different styles, different even communication skills than you. So you need to pay attention to how they work, how you can approach them to ask questions related to time estimates, to ask even how they're doing throughout the week, if they slept well, if they're eating properly, because you want to make sure that everyone is nice and well and happy with the work. Because work will be boring, but it's important to make sure that everyone will be in the best scenario ever to work as best as possible, because nothing is perfect and achieve perfect is very, very difficult. But yeah, is the hard part is the communication and to get everyone to be okay and working well. And then, yeah, that's it. All of my questions, all of my presentation now is gone.
Yeah, I guess our time's up as well now.
Makes sense.
So you can say last things. What you
Mhm.
want to see? What you want to say?
So, firstly, good luck at Game Jam Plus 2021 at the first stage that will be happening like tomorrow until Sunday. Good luck to all the jammers from Salvador, that is the host city that me and Ceci is organizing. We are Game Jam Plus Salvador organizers. Ah. And good luck to all of the jammers around the world that are watching this talk and are going to participate at that Game Jam Plus. Good luck being project managers of yourself and of a team, because it's very important to manage everything, to make sure that everything is going fine, that you're going to present your material fine, that you're going to make sure your team is fine, that you're going to have all the features possible implemented in the best way possible as well. And yeah, good luck to everyone. Feel free to reach me out on social media with the links there or there. I don't know about position anymore. But yeah, on the comment section. And yeah, thanks for the invitation again. And I hope you have like appreciated this long presentation time here.
Thank you for your presence and for the presentation. That was wonderful. And thanks everyone for their presence. And don't forget, if you haven't sign up please for the jam. Have a great jam and see you guys.
Olá, manas e manos!
You are invited for the next edition of Game Jam Plus.
Quer criar o próximo grande jogo indie?
I'd like to invite my fellow flyover states and the rest of the world to come jam with us.
Mi nombre es Brian Hernández de Cartago, Costa Rica. Patos de Minas, Minas Gerais.
Calgary, Canada.
Goiás,
São Luís.
Iran,
Liga Sul de Minas.
Portugal,
Brasília. México. Salvador. Maquedônia.
Uberaba, Minas Gerais.
São José, Costa Rica.
Uberlândia.
La Paz, Bolivia.
Manaus, Amazonas.
United States Midwest.
Atlanta,
Slovenia.
Engenheiro Paulo de Frontin.
Game Jam Plus? O que é Game Jam Plus?
En donde desarrolladores, músicos, artistas podrán crear su propio juego con un enfoque de negocios.
Participants from all around the world come together.
É o local onde suas ideias tomam forma.
Y me complace mucho invitarlos a este gran evento.
I feel thrilled and blessed to have such an opportunity to be a part of this.
And I want you to unlock this achievement too.
Que es un evento internacional que va a tomar lugar del 8 al 10 de octubre.
from October 8th to 10th.
Entre el 8 y el 10 de octubre.
Dias 8 ao dia 10 de outubro.
This October, from the 8th to the 10th.
Dia 8 ao dia 10 de outubro.
Quiero invitarlos a formar parte de esta gran comunidad internacional.
It's going to be an incredible opportunity to make some games, meet some amazing people.
Espero haber más personas de todo el mundo participando de este gran evento.
Hope to see you there.
Participa, be our plus one.
Would you be our plus one?
Visita naša plus 1.
Be a plus one.
Budete moj plus 1.
Be our plus one.
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 Join us, be our plus 1.
Be our plus one.